ability to change panel shapes. We're not locked into the horizontal. And so, if you want to accentuate the distance of that guy falling, well then you could use a tall vertical panel, because then the reader also gets that drop that takes place. So I think in that context, also is what panel shapes can add to the storytelling that I have, that I'm trying to do, and I try and pick the moment on the page and maybe bring a little more attention, whether it be panel size or something, to bring attention to the moment on the page. And so, but you know, again, it's hard for me to describe the process because I don't have it happens sort of organically and naturally. It just sort of develops. I get out my page and with a light pencil, I read what he's looking to do, and I just start making each line. Sometimes I go, well, it won't work that way, and boom, start from another path. So it just happens organically, more or less.
Do you work through a regular schedule, wake up in the morning and work, or you work it out?
I am the most disciplined son of a bitch you've ever run into, man. I am like a robot, a Terminator, and that's it. I roll out of bed, I do what I gotta do, and it's get the little one off to school, whatever. And you know, shaving is secondary, showering is secondary, everything is secondary. You know, my protein shake's important. I take the protein shake, then it's off to work, man, and that's it. And I don't move, even to my own detriment, I don't move until I get what's supposed to be accomplished. And like, it doesn't matter how many years in the business, there are days that the page fights you and you can't get it out, whether you can't get your idea out or you can't get the technical aspects of the drawing together. And instead of walking away, I am also the biggest jackass you ever meet. I will stay at that board laboring and suffering and sweating and swearing and still leaving that board until finally I've got 16 hours on the page and it beat me and I'm in a bad mood. I say to the wife, I give up. And she's like, I tell you all the time. By the way, this is how all we're gonna talk. You don't talk this way. I tell you all the time, walk away, do something else, get your friends, you come back and charge and energy and get you better. But I don't listen. I am a bullheaded jerk and I just stay there with the machine pounding and pounding and pounding until sometimes I admit defeat and I walk away, which is aggravating. And you know what, the next day I come back refreshed, recharged, as he told me. And it just comes out natural. So yeah, I'm disciplined to a fault. To a fault.
I'm sure I can say that. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and raise your hands. Go ahead.
Your style has changed a lot over the years, and I was wondering what your influences are from how you make your eyes, how you make everything. It has a different feel to it, and it's changed. So I was wondering, what influences that change?
Well, I'll say a couple things. First off, any title I take on, you're going to see a difference in my style, because I don't think that one style suits every book. And I'll give you the most diametrically opposed thing that I can come up with right now. Okay? We have Spawn on one hand, which is bloody, it's gritty, it's dark, and you have Barbie. Yay, Barbie! So, would I ever think, I'm one illustrator, I'm commissioned to do Spawn, I'm commissioned to do Barbie. Well, the style that I apply there isn't going to work over there. So right off the bat, I have to modify the way I approach the project. Okay? So that's number one. When I was on Spawn, now first let me tell you how I trained. I did a lot of light drawing for photographs, learning technical aspects, the draftsmanship of drawing. And if you look at some of my earlier work, even though, still you saw, I had a lot of room to improve, you can still see that it came from a reality-based study. Oh yeah, that's an actual ear, that's an actual eye, and all that. So that is actually, who I started as. When I went to work for Todd, he never, ever put any limits on me. And he had a whacked out style, which to me was a turnoff when I was growing up. But then I started experimenting when I was on his book. And even I look back at some of those issues of Spawn, how whacked out my stuff was. I can't even believe I experimented to that degree. But no one was grabbing me by the collar, dragging me back. So I just had fun. I just, whatever happened. So at one point, I remember when I was drawing Spawn, it's so whacked out because my approach, I abandoned the idea of good draftsmanship for the place of visceral emotion. And I found that you can gain a lot of power on that. Now, some people get turned out by that art style. And like I said, I look at my own stuff and go, wow, I can't believe how whacked out it was. Because it was all just a pure, visceral emotion that I was trying to put across. And you can get up. And when you're not bound by correct draftsmanship, well, then you can make a mouth way wider than it can open, and an eyebrow way higher, and everything else you can do with anatomy, and so on and so on. And so a lot of experimentation took place when I was on Spawn. And then, and here's all honesty, there was a lot of people who liked my Marvel stuff and abandoned me on Spawn. But I also gained a lot of people on Spawn when you look at that other stuff, so it's all a trade. But when I took over Batman, I was very aware that there was a whole group of people that were worried that I was going to turn Batman into Spawn. Not granted, some would have been happy about that, but there was a large number who were very concerned about that. And they were also part of the number who liked my earlier work that I'd done at Marvel. So it was a conscious effort to bring back some of the more correct draftsmanship on Batman. And to me, Batman is better served that way. And so part of it is the natural inclination for an artist to want to stretch and explore. And some of it is conscious decision-making based on what my job is at that time, and I'm sure I would go and do a different look of Batman after. It's not going to look like I do one Batman, you know. And so, to be honest, I find it restrictive on Batman drawing because I try and keep it a little more correct, you know, with the draftsmanship, and that's a little bit binding, you know what I mean? Because there's things I want to do, and I go, but I can't because I'm playing it this way. The song has to be played this way. So, it's working out. People like it, so I'm doing it.
You don't worry about altering your style. You don't worry that I'm always so worried that I'm going to lose my fan base.
Well, I'll tell you something Eric Larson says. You guys have heard of him? Eric Larson, right? Eric Larson said to me, no matter how you draw, some fan will tell you, how come you don't draw like this anymore? In other words, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? They're going to like you, some are going to like you, some are not going to like you, and I don't worry too much about it, because you also have to have your own degree of happiness. And I'm happy with the way I draw Batman now, even though it's more time-consuming. But I have no qualms about altering my style based on what title I'm on. And I think fans, and you guys can tell me, I mean, if I were to modify my style on another title that you like, would you run from the room screaming? But if it was different, but if it was still good? If it was still good, you'd hang in there, no? Because the essence of good drawing comics is good storytelling. That's number one. If I'm still directing the book the same, with strong directing and exciting directing, and my drawings are still within the pocket, that, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to be a totally different guy. It's just giving that a little different flavor. It's like expecting a musician to write the same album over and over and over again. And they don't work crazy, easy, but you know, not many guys can do that, you know, and get away with it. So I don't fear it too much. I think that if I give them the core with a good, strong storytelling, make it exciting, and make it interesting, and different and stylized, they'll appreciate it and they'll still hang in there with me. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah.
No, it was just a follow-up to what you were asking. Because when you did Dark Knight, you took it a little bit further into the more horror side and so on. And I just wonder if Greg wanted to, in his personal opinion, if he wanted to take it more to that side as well, and did he feel like it was limited to it? In your personal preference, like I wish I could take this a little bit further down this road, what just fun it was.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, for me, you know, when you say Batman, I think of dark, rooting alleyways and, you know, deep shadows and all that, but a lot of stuff's got rights. Batman's, you know, fucking serious, man. We're out in the bright sunlight every minute, which, you know, I would definitely prefer the darker stuff, and for a couple of reasons. One, it looks very cool. Two, it's a lot easier to draw stuff that's in a shadow. In the bright sunlight, I can't get away with anything, man. I gotta draw everything. It's gotta be right. You know what I mean? There's an old adage in comics that says, you know, when in doubt, black out, you know, so in a great sunny day, if I'm struggling with a piece of something, well, too bad, son, you gotta get it right at that point. Whereas, you know, the shadow, my arm's kind of screwed up, man. Oh, wow, it's in shadow. So, it has its advantages. Yeah, but no, I like the dark stuff, you know, only because also art is stronger to me. Shadow defines form, that's another rule of art. And without a shadow, you know, something is flat. And when you do stuff that's in, you know, this gray area atmosphere, it's really hard to get that across. And you guys have know what to do to start black even in the sunlight, and that's an approach. But I didn't think that's an approach that would, you know, necessarily work, you know, on Batman. And so now your reliance is more on the colors, bringing some solidity to the drawing. But because I like to be the control of that, I do prefer darker environments because I can give the weight and the solidity to the form by my own hand.
This is a little bit generic, but what got you into drawing?
As soon as I could pick up something to make a mark on a wall or a piece of paper, I was doing it. So, you know, I guess it's just in my blood. I know that my mother was able to draw a little bit, and to this day, I remember my aunt who was a beautician, and they had, and this goes way back, and they had these beautician books that had these little squiggle lines of you know, pretty females in profile with hairdo. And I remember my aunt at the kitchen table on a napkin, just take her, she just went like this. There was the forehead, out to the nose, then she continued, that bottom nose, went into the lips, down to the chin, swoop, hair, eyeball, done, perfect. I was like, oh my God. And so it's in the family, and I still start off my profile a little bit based on the way I saw my aunt put it at the kitchen table on a napkin. So I mean, as soon as I could pick up something to make marks, I mean, it was just something I did, and I was always drawing. So I mean, it wasn't a thought, it's just like it was an actual thing. I have this thing, I marked on paper, it was cool, it's fun. That's it. Anybody else? Yes.
With Creeps, as you develop that, do you anticipate working with DC on that, or are you going to talk like
No, I'll still do that independently because, you know, I don't know what deals DC strikes with create your own stuff. But I own that stuff lock, stock, and barrel. I'm not interested in giving a piece to, you know, corporation. So no, I'll go back and do run the images, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
So you said yourself earlier that Batman iconic transcends companies, everything, words. So here you are, Mr. Marvel, image guy, and New 52 comes around and you get handed Batman. How did that go over with DC's role that they could have easily had for?
You know, I don't think they thought about it, you know. I mean, it wasn't the first time that DC approached me. Usually in the past it was because, you know, they couldn't match price tags, you know, that I'm making someplace else. So, I mean, that's just bad business to go work for somebody who's not going to pay you too much, you know. You got to dig a ditch, you know, 6 feet deep. Guys are going to pay you $5, goes guy going to pay $500, it's no brainer. You know, and so a lot of decision making was that, because I mean, I would always jump at the chance at, you know, Batman, you know, no doubt. But, you know, companies don't think, people get worried. I mean, you know, my colleagues and stuff, they worry about offending this guy, because he works for that company someday, I might want to work there, and if I do this and that, I go, if you're producing good work, it doesn't really matter. You could burn a bridge, they'll rebuild a bridge, because it's a business, they want to make money. So it's, and listen, these guys are always jumping back and forth. Anyway, DC. Everybody's worked at DC as a one-time work for Marvel and vice versa, and they are always ready to change back and forth. I mean, so it's not really like that, you know. Nobody's going to hold it against you. You know what I mean? Plus, you know what? They see themselves as one big family. Nobody was more sorry to hear that DC was going to be moved to the West Coast than Marvel guys. They go, you know, even though you're a rival, you know, you belong here. It's us, you know. It's the common thing. So I don't think that really plays a role at all. Not at all.
Batman, did they already have a Batman concept, like the character, his costume, and everything else already figured out before you got there? Or did you have any influence on that?
You know, Jim Lee designed all the costumes, all this armored scene line look before I came on. So I was given, you know, the sheet, you know, with the lines. Go, this is how the costume is. So whether you like it or not, that's the costume is. The only chance I got was when we did Zero Year to redesign the Batman costume, which was fun, you know. But no, Jim Lee had, for every Marvel 52 relaunched character, that's all his play.
You're known for your innovative panel design and layouts. Do you know, you consciously remember what made you step beyond the standard 4 or 6 panel page to do something more involved and more dynamic?
Well, again, you know, one of the things, I mean, I've always listened to every bit of advice that's been given to me since I was trying to break into business. And this whole idea that I was describing before about, you know, like a vertical panel used in such a manner, that's came from an editor, you know, at Marvel. And, you know, so that's always been plugged into my head. Then the 90s happened, and things were, you know, more freewheeling. And then working with time, everything was open. So was experimentation. You know, what can I do? And how much fun can I have? Now I'm more conservative than that. And other guys are getting more conservative. I'm like, ah, you've been there, I did that. Yeah, but now I'm playing a little more straight. Which again, I think serves Batman. Because Batman is very methodical, and he's very planned, he's very disciplined, and he's very rigid. So I almost, you know, I keep the structure even in that same tone. Whereas like, as the opposite would be like Spider-Man, it's freewheeling and look on, you know what I mean? So I even play the way I structure pages based on how I feel Batman's personality is. So, but again, I don't give things a lot of conscious thought. What comes out of me is what comes out of me, and that's it, you know? I don't even know what the formula is, I just do it.
That's really interesting. I've never thought of that. I've never thought about the character, the personality of the character.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
It really does. I'm gonna have to say.
I'm gonna write it down so I remember it myself and say it again.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, have you ever thought about teaching or producing some sort of like art book or coffee table book or something like that?
Yes. And I have a bunch of notes all, you know, collected that, you know, I work so much, and I've given up a lot to do my job. You know, I no longer play the guitar, I'm no longer in a band, I barely work out and everything else. So, you know, usually at the end of the day, I'm pretty fried, you know, and then to do something else. But I do chip away here and there, and I do have a bunch of collection of notes and ideas and chapters that I want to put out. But I thought of a couple of different ways of doing it. I know a lot of guys, including Dave, use DVDs, and that's an option. But I also call them levels of books because, you know, an all-encompassing book really doesn't work. Because some stuff is going to go over the head of a beginner, and so on. So I thought of even like having levels of books. Because, you know, for instance, if I was doing an advanced lesson book, I would include things about, you know, basics of anatomy and basics of perspective. You know, I want to give things to see some pros, you know, could take and borrow. You know, I never saw it that way before, and I could use that information. So I was thinking of doing even like, you know, beginner, intermediate, and pro level series of books. You know, but when I can find the time to do the God's knows, you know what I mean? I'm a working man, hard working man, and I got a family too, so, you know what I mean?
You talked about before about relying on the colorists to add weight to your forms and the 0-year stuff. How much influence do you have over palette, or are you comfortable with the amount of influence you have over that stage of the process?
Well, you know, first off, I handpicked FCO. That was kind of one of the deals I had going into DC. You know, I picked my guys, and that's my team. And it's like, I don't even want an editor to even tell the colorist or anybody what they got to do. If you have a concern with the art, come talk to me. I'm the middle guy because artists are temperamental guys to begin with. And so if you get too many chefs in the kitchen trying to make a soup, you're going to get pretty unhappy artists, you know. And so, you know, there's been times when, you know, Scott tried to talk to FCO, and Andrew's trying to tell FCO something, and I didn't pick FCO, and I trust FCO, and then FCO comes to me all upset, you know, because it's causing turmoil in his life. And I just said, you guys don't talk to me, there's a concern, and maybe I disagree with your concern, and I'll explain to you why you should have no concern. So most of the time, FCO does more than I can envision. I mean, some of the stuff he comes up with is just so brilliant. So only on rare occasions do I tell him, You know, maybe we could do this way because this is what I'm going for. And maybe if he's feeling insecure about something, his shows him, Greg, am I on the right track? Or do you see a different vision? And what do you want me to do different? And so me and SEO, we work together. But 99% of the time, I just get out of his way. That's what I told the editor. Just leave him alone. Let him go. He's going to come up with stuff better than you or I can even dream of doing. So no, I trust SEO's decision making. And when Scott wanted to do a bright color palette for 0 year that would set it apart from our regular content stuff, you know, we just said go crazy, SEO. And in the beginning, you know, SEO was nervous because you see the color palette shows for that. And you got, you know, chartreuse, and you got, you know, hot pink and everything else. And he was, in the beginning, you know, going, is this okay? You know, it's awesome, just go. And he got more and more comfortable, more and more crazy and outrageous, and it worked. I love the work he did on 0 year. I would never agree. If I was close, I would not have had the balls to do what he's done. So, you know, he's SEO's great, man. He's my right hand man.
Go ahead.
You spoke earlier about how every time you approach the character, you're looking at how you're going to draw it, you change up your style a little bit. What are some characters that you haven't really worked on yet, personality-wise, you'd be really interested in exploring parts?
Oh, Christ, man. That's, you know, I get questions like that. But now you're like, you brought a kid into a candy store, and you got, which candy would you like to eat, little boy? I really can't answer it, man. I mean, there's so many titles that I would just love to grab my hands on, you know, and I think I love Fantastic Four growing up, and I love the Ben Grimm, the Thing. To draw all those rocky textures over the Thing, and he's an ass kicker to boot, man, oh man, that would be so much fun. There's so many characters. I really, honestly, I can't answer the question. There's tons of them. There's so many cool characters. Just, man, it'd be easier to just go, we'll set up the list, blindfold you, Greg, and you throw a dart, and that's it, you know. And I'd find a way to be happy on most every title. And my wife has come to sit with me. Well, I might be.
Yeah, but I meant they're saying you announced that you are.
I announced my contract is up. Okay. You know, I have to tell you guys, one of the things I love is that people freak out when I'm leaving Batman all the time. That is a good feeling of job security right there, I must tell you. It's because I'll take an issue up. Oh my God, Greg, what's an issue? Please don't tell me you're off Batman. No, I'm not off Batman. I still got like 2 years more contract, but thank you for worrying about it. You know, that's awesome. So, but anyway, Dan, back to your question, man. You know, I would have fun and express myself in different ways on many different books. It wouldn't matter. I'll give you an example too, and this is an early lesson that an editor gave me. One of the submissions I gave when I was trying to get the comics was 4. And this sticks with me to this day, and it's so true. He goes, this is not 4. He goes, this is just a guy flying around who has a cape and a hammer. And I didn't understand what he was trying to tell me. He's going, Superman flies around as a cape. They don't fly the same. They're not the same personality. They're not the same hero. They would look different because they have different attitudes. Wow, that's heavy. Now you think how many different superheroes can fly. And you can't use the same body in those because it's not the same cat. You know, so that's heavy. So right there shows you the kind of flexibility that these characters give you because you have their personality. So it's not just their look, it's their personality that contribute to the alterations in your style and the cool stuff that you can do with it. I just have to say that man has enjoyed a nice nap this whole time. I was on a jury one time with a guy like that, you know. It's a murder trial.
So we're going to take one more question. I think we're just about to...
Ask the guy in the white shirt right there. Here, I'll ask him, can we wake you?
Who's your favorite Batman villain?
I would have to say Joker, you know, but it's a hard question because the rogues gallery that Batman has is like second. Come on, he has the very best roles gallery. I mean, there's cool supervillains, you know, that exist for other characters, you know, you can name anyone, you know, the Dr. Doom, and all that, but Batman has all Dr. Dooms. I mean, he's just every supervillain is amazing. Joker was a lot of fun, and there's a lot of stuff that I was familiar doing was fun, but I also love big characters, and so it was fun doing Clayface, that was all. And it would be great to do a Killer Croc, you know, big Paulson character like that. He's got, and Riddler was surprisingly fun to me. I would love the Penguin, I had a few moments to draw Penguin. Penguin's glass is my way shape, you know what I mean? That's fun to draw. So, you know, Batman is another one of those throw the dart at the wall, whatever supervillain it is, I'm in, I'm fun.
All right, great. Well, thank you all for coming out, and this sounds good. Round of applause for this.
There's sort of, you know, people have gotten a little more crazy, but I was a little more subdued because it's so quiet in here. So hopefully we'll get together with a lot of people sometime on the red belt. Wow. All right. Thanks to David Finch, too, for stepping up and moderating, huh? David. Oh, you're talking.